Was that stuff to
Required to buy.
No.
No.
Just stuff I'm gonna leave you.
Huh?
Stuff I'm gonna leave you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're ready for stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I got an opening statement. I'm guessing that our March 18th vote is probably going to get thrown out because we didn't give it a 48 hours of vote. I just wish people would let us do our job legally. It has been stated by me that Mr. Overstreet stated that if we did not agree with the ordinance, that we should take it to court and would have 14 days to do that. I'll read you a sentence from the letter from Mr. Overstreet to Dan Rice, and I quote, "If you truly believe that the proposed initiative is unlawful, the county's only option is to follow MCA code 7-5-1135 and file a lawsuit within 14 days. We did exactly what Mr. Overstreet said to do, and he said it was our only option if we did not agree with the initiative. Mr. Overstreet's client also asked for summary judgment, meaning there's no reason for this to go on and to make a judgment now, and here was the reply from the judge. As they note in closing, this court takes a dim view of the gameship displayed here by the Edens and has little patience for such tactics. The parties and counsel are expected to be mindful of the court's time and each other's and to deal with each other fairly. Effective and good faith communication is essential for the efficient functioning of our justice system. All parties should bear that in mind as this litigation proceeds and ensure that any arguments put forth in the future are truly worthy of the court's consideration. This commissioner believes that having legal advice from our county attorney, Mr. Rice, is very important to making legal and smart decisions. I also believe that he should feel comfortable to be at any part of the commission meeting. So until Mr. Rice notifies me that he does feel comfortable giving us legal advice and being present at public meetings, I will not be going to any commissioner meetings. When Mr. Rice tells me he feels comfortable, then I will be back. Those that are responsible for Mr. Rice not being here, fix it. For those that have been respectful, thank you, Todd Deb. For the record, I'm out of here.
You granted me time to seek counsel. I did so upon reading about 36 hours of documents and back and forth from different entities with the county attorney, both of them. I find public opinion or public opportunity to vote on a project or an item very serious. I would like to see it go through. But as of right now, I due to counsel, I cannot speak on the present lawsuit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, are you a parliamentarian?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you a parliamentarian?
Am I the what?
Parliamentarian.
I'm not even sure what that means.
How are they gonna adjourn?
I don't know.
Well, it's this commissioner's opinion. A lot of back and forth. We we approved March 2nd over at the Heritage Center this zoning petition. And when I read, there are 76-2-101 to 76-2-119. There's all your codes. And when I read this, what we accepted that night over there, we didn't have to have this vote the other day, but I wanted to just confirm what we're talking about. In this, we accepted the whole petition, not part of a petition. We didn't just accept 50 names or whatever's on here. We just didn't accept this. We didn't just accept the names. That wasn't the end of it. Because if we just did that 50 people, well, when you bring later on, if you decide for a planning board, maybe they want a horse park out of it. We'll just zone horse park. But I thought we were zoning something specific, setbacks and protection for citizens and heights. You can have variances, you can do whatever you want, but that's in here. So when we did that, we accepted the whole petition. Now, I don't know if we're walking that back or not, but on 76-2-101, Planning and Zoning Commission District, subject to the provisions and subsections, whenever the public of interest or convenience may be required, a petition is 60% of the affected real property owners and proposed district. We have 100%. The Board of County Commissioners may create, may, not shall, not gonna, not have to, may, that's optional. And Planning Zoning District may appoint a planning and zoning commission consisting of the 7 members. We got lost in the mail here. Rick brought up not too long ago, last meeting, that are we that afraid of you, the citizens, to vote on a height limit in the county? Dawson County said, well, they already got zoning. Well, I come from Seattle, and I'll tell you what, they got zoned all over the place. If we just look at Google, and if you look at Lewis and Clark County, which is Helena, they have 42 different zoning districts, and a lot of them overlap and cross. So to say, well, we don't qualify, any law, any statute, any rule or regulation that Congress passes, you pass the thing before you challenge the thing. To me, it doesn't make sense why we would challenge our citizens, because that's what our government has given us, the right to petition. And as government, we're taking that right away from our citizens, not to petition government. So where would this eventually end? I don't know, probably not good, because you're taking another thing away from citizens. And we wonder why our citizens don't trust government. Our county's a good example of what we're doing wrong. Something too is concerning is our attorney up at Park City. I get a lot of these in email about what courts is going on. And when I turn over in the center of this thing, Prairie County is not challenging, nor is she, the initiative process of whether zoning can be enacted as an initiative. They're not challenging that. Well, I come back to this. We're saying we're not, but we are. I'm trying to get answers on this like everybody else, and there is a certain amount of frustration. But we're saying one thing here, and we're doing something else here, and that's a great concern. And something troubling is not able to question. And I don't know, Dan has felt threatened or something that we don't come in and sit down and talk to citizens. But we work for the citizens. You hired us through a vote. Thomas Jefferson, in his day and age, in the early 1800s, the journalist of the day questioned him. And he said, the journalist had asked him, we should question you, shouldn't we? And Thomas Jefferson said this, we should question everything of government. When you have a question, find an answer. The journalist then said, should we even question God? Thomas Jefferson's response was this, God's big enough to answer any questions you have. So yes, question. And see, sometimes we're shutting that curtain and that's not right for our citizens. We have 50 people up there that want to create a zone. It's their land, it's their property. As a commissioner, I don't have the right to say, well, no, you can't do that. Well, why not? Because mom and dad, you say that, and I say that to children. But this is a big deal. It's our county, and people have the right. People have the right to petition, which this is. We have approved that petition, and now it appears we're wavering. We don't trust our citizens. We don't trust our citizens about the general provisions, the title, the creation, and the adoption, the regulations of the last best place. It's all in here, and it's been approved, but now we're unapproving. The appearance to me is questioning, shouldn't we, we've already approved this, shouldn't we as a people, if we're doubtful about some things in here, isn't that when we bring a commission on with citizens on the board being represented? Isn't that what we should do? Is go over this if there are details or if there's problems or because it's already been passed. We should move forward, but it's been dealing with this 2 years, and it seems like we're playing a game with this, that the end game waited out. NextEra has already said they're suspended the project because of lost customers. So before they're going to get in the game or not get in the game, shouldn't we? This was just dumped on the commissioners. Come in one day and here we're the cute boy from out of town, and these are the things we want to do. Sign this. They brought us road agreements. They brought us construction agreements, and in these agreements, there were tax abatements. You have to pay your taxes, but these guys don't want to pay theirs. Coal, I think, pays 8. Natural gas pays 8. Certain entities pay 3. I think these guys are on hook for 1.5%. But do your power bills keep going up? Mine do. Just question the benefit. I'd like to have more conversation with them at the table, and that's all I got to say. Looks like you're stuck with me.
But today was supposed to be about the lawsuit.
Yes.
The petition of the voters, correct? Did you put it on
Yes.
the ballot?
This was supposed to be, I brought, several people brought it up about the suit to get Shane and Tylene. I made a motion to suspend that, walk away from it, let the court, let the citizens vote and work it out. And then if there's an issue, then we can talk about it. But just for us to just go against citizens, well, we don't agree with you, we're just gonna sue you. I don't think that's the way you do it with your neighbors, and I don't think that's the way you do it with your citizens.
I have a question from Kay Hoffer. How can Dennis legally adjourn the meeting?
Yeah.
You can't, Kay.
I'd like to say something. Dave Hudson's my name. I'd like to thank you, Dennis, for going above and beyond this whole thing from the very beginning. And I wish we had another commissioner too that was as brave and knowledgeable as you are. And for a lot of people in Prairie County, I don't think we thank you enough for what you're doing for this county.
You know, our government whether it's federal or state, sometimes we just don't feel like they listen to us. And how can you in local government not listen to your people? I think it's important to have a conversation. We don't have to agree 100% on everything, but we should have a consensus where we agree on most of things and be neighbors and be friendly. And there's just been a lot of things happening, and us throwing darts at one another doesn't help, but having a conversation does.
Joylyn and Wright, from Prairie, Terry. How can people be sued for exercising their constitutional rights?
Well, that's what's concerning to me.
Yeah.
That's just because you want to have something on a ballot initiative, type 2 zoning height limits measured, certification in Dawson County. They themselves are having that initiative this June on the ballot to decide that. And it's exactly the same question that's being proposed to our center. In Dawson County, they're in full agreement. The front page of the paper says they are. But in our county, we're choosing not to do that, and I'm still scratching my head to the why.
You know, back in the 50s in Fallon, we petitioned to start our Fallon Rural Fire Department. Had to go to a vote by the landowners that wanted involved or did not want involved. It was passed illegal, you had to go to a public vote. Same thing when we closed the Fallon School, it had to go to a public vote. I don't see any difference now than then. I mean, as far as what they petitioned, you know, the voters, they got what they needed to do the, you know, to do their legality, put it up there. I think it's, in my opinion, I don't think the county should be suing some of their own constituents. That's what I would like to see.
Sir, what is your name? Doug Gilbert? York, that was Doug York.
Well, it would appear to me, if we all get to be here together and we cannot close this meeting off, we should order pizza and charge it to the two commissioners who decide.
Yeah, Glenda.
Fun time, isn't it, folks? I live 30, my husband and I, we live 30 miles out in the country with the price of gas, and we get to come to town and hear a lame, and I've got other words I could add on to that, statements. This is ridiculous. Is this really what we want in Prairie County? I just think maybe we better figure out a way to recall some commissioners.
There you go, amen.
Absolutely. Glenda Euland.
That was Glenda Euland.
I say,
Yeah, can I ask a question to the secretary?
yes.
Mr. Secretary, the meeting we had Wednesday, when they decided this meeting for today, was there a vote for that?
Was there a vote to have this meeting? I don't know if there was a vote to have this meeting, but they set the meeting.
So unanimous?
Yeah. They all agreed to be here for this meeting, yeah.
Okay. I guess I'd like to mimic what, Ms. Euland said there, is that, you know, a lot of people made a lot of effort to get here. And it's ridiculous what happened here. If they wanted to do this, why not just do it on the April 1st meeting? Have it on the agenda instead of have everybody come scurrying into town and stop their lives. So I guess I would mimic what Ms. Euland said, you know, it's a vote of no confidence in our commissioner that won't even stick around, they just left. I mean, you can have your vote and your opinion, and that's fine, everybody's fine with that, but just to leave is definitely a vote of no confidence.
Hi, Commissioner Dusky. Roland Christopherson. I think we're a little bit confused on why we're here today, because we're supposed to be voting on whether or not we want to drop the suit, if I'm not mistaken. Most of the nation and county or government, business, city, it's done in closed session. And whatever you agree in that is closed session is then brought forth by the officers in charge and voted on in public. And I don't know if you guys have done any discussion in closed session with the Eatons
and yourselves to see if you can't come to agreement there. When this petition was brought forth and presented to the county by, Shane and Tylene, I believe that our local attorney did make some suggestions on how to change the wording so it could move forward, and I think everybody in this room is all for having this, vote available to them. But something has happened in the process where there were no changes. And because there were no changes to that petition, they felt by the time it came through that they had to go to a judge to find out if they could legally put that petition on a ballot with the wording that was presented to them. So I guess at this point, you're waiting to hear what the judge says to see if that ballot language is okay. I think if it turns out, if maybe you can make some changes now to get it on the ballot, I don't know, but I think that's where the hangup is the language is not quite correct. Because you don't want to have an election and then find out afterwards that the wording's all wrong and it's not going to be worth the paper it's written on. And then you're going to have to do it all over again. So I guess that's just my comment there is maybe we somehow need to figure out what wording you want on there to get it done right and then move forward from there.
So thank you, Dennis. Following Rolan's comment, there's a lot of misunderstanding, and from my understanding of it, the petition was brought in by Mr. Eaton. There was corrections that were requested to be made, and Mrs. Eaton brought the corrections in, and that's why she is listed on the lawsuit. Corrections were made, and that's why Tylene is listed. Thank God he didn't send one of his kids into handling the corrections, otherwise they'd be on a lawsuit too. Thank you.
Shane, were those addressed? Will you?
Yeah, so Shane Eaton, Mr. Christopherson, Mr. Martinson's point, I'm not sure how much a person needs to say here, but yeah, there was a letter received from the clerk. And everybody should just get the letter because this shouldn't be a secret. It really should be posted on the website, really, in my opinion. But there was a letter that said the county will not move forward the ballot petition that I offered. And there's 3 reasons listed. Yeah, here it is right here. Thank you, Rick. This is the letter that was received. And there's 3 reasons listed why the clerk and attorney would not move it forward, because the statute, when a citizen brings an initiative, it must be approved for form. And anybody can look this up and argue with me if they want, but if that's what it says, it must be approved. The county would not approve it. That's where the problem was. They need to approve it. And then if they think it's unconstitutional, for the reasons that the county attorney put in the letter, then they may bring suit. So the county attorney and the clerk and recorder violate the statute by not moving the petition forward. And I don't know if everybody knew that, but that's what happened. I think you received a letter, Commissioner Teskey, and the rest of the commissioners would have received a letter from Mr. Overstreet, the attorney, explaining all this and why the petition was in fact constitutional, and laying out that, it must be moved forward. And if you think it's unconstitutional, then you may sue. The reference you just made earlier about Prairie County doesn't argue that citizens can do zoning by initiative. From tear to pay contradicts and overrules what Dan Rice put in this letter. So originally Prairie County came with this premise, and now they've done a 180 of what you just read. So there, to my knowledge, there's no other changes to be made. The changes that were asked to be made were because of Senate Bill 11. And I think the commissioners received that. We made the changes, and the changes were like in the petition that you held up. Well, I guess you don't have the ballot petition, you have the zoning district, but the ballot petition, it has wording. It's supposed to have headings, yes and no, instead of for and against. Some things changed that were not published yet online in Montana Code Annotated. So when we did it, we didn't know that there was these changes made by the legislature. County attorney found that they need to be changed. We made the changes. My wife brought them back in. To my knowledge, it's all set up to be on the ballot. Citizens went and got, what was it, 160 plus signatures? But everything's legal with the ballot petition. The signatures were submitted. And it's sitting in the clerk's office, and then the suit comes. And the suit, I guess now is, I'm not sure what it is, because the county says right there that they don't challenge. So it's kind of confusing to me, but I'm not here to litigate it. I'm just pointing out facts.
Like I said, this comes from the Prairie Pay, and it's in the 7th Judicial District Court. Prairie County does not challenge the initiative. This. It's the whole thing. And then it come up, is this what we agreed to, or just that to create the initiative? Or to create the zone? Well, you don't just create a zone and don't have the regulations to follow with it, because that would be insane. They're not challenging that, but then they are challenging it. 3 paragraphs is what this said. We're challenging 3 paragraphs. Well, you pass the initiative, you pass the zoning. So isn't that when the commission comes in, instead of we sue each other? You get lost in the mail somewhere.
I think you're wrong. Cause that, you're talking about the initiative that was passed at Evan Cameron. She's talking about the lawsuit
Okay,
against him. Those are 2 different
right, the initiative and then the ballot initiative.
ballot initiatives. That's what he's talking about.
Okay.
And that's what they were asking about, the ballot initiative, not the other initiative.
For those who don't know.
Scotty,
I had a question, clarification. My name is Rick Holden for the record. Did the county commissioners ever go ahead and make a motion to, let me find the right word I want to use, to authorize the suit?
We had a closed door session. Dan Rice presented to the 3 commissioners. That you cannot have an initiative with height restrictions. That was the initial, what was said.
His interpretation, yeah.
His interpretation, you can't have that. And then Tara DePay, I guess handpicked, she agreed too, that you can't have heights in your initiative. Can you or can't you? Well, it's like you can. And then we had a vote to hire her. There were 2 to 1. I thought we had to take a different path. I didn't agree with anything with the height restrictions until show us the evidence, but no one was showing the evidence. You can't have height in that. We just went to see.
So you had a vote in a closed door session.
No,
to
that was
hire.
open to the public after that. We had initial conversation with DePay. Our county, I think she is their attorney for the county, and I think she has a private practice. We met in closed session, and then after that closed, she was off the phone, and Dan left, and then what citizens were here, I don't know if anybody was here on that or not, but it was after that, then we had a vote to hire her. That's what it was. And for her to pursue, if this is legal, to the height, and then also to challenge it. I voted no, there were 2 voted yes.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Joy again, I'm sorry, I'd like to address his letter that, or his comment. He said that Dan Rice felt uncomfortable, he was scared, intimidated. What were his words? Mr. Secretary, could you please read his words? About Dan's reason why he's not here? Or doesn't want to be here?
Okay, it says this commissioner believes that having legal advice from our county attorney, Mr. Rice, is very important in making legal and smart decisions. I also believe that he should feel comfortable to be at any part of the commissioner meeting. So until Mr. Rice notifies me that he does feel comfortable giving us legal advice and being present at public meetings, I will not be going to any county commissioner meetings. When Mr. Rice tells me he feels comfortable, then I will be back. Those that our responsibility for Mr. Rice not being here. That's what he said.
Okay,
Who wrote that?
Todd Devlin.
Oh,
So he's not gonna be here because Mr. Rice does not feel comfortable. Here's my opinion on that. Yeah, very. Here's my opinion. He's a prosecutor, is he not?
It's counter.
He's a counter, does he prosecute?
No.
Okay, an attorney, county attorney, who wants to be on the case for Isaac Carrier's death because he's so important to be there, because he's prosecuting it. As a prosecuting attorney, he will judge, or not judge, he will ask questions of any witness on the witness stand, and he will be relentless, and he will intimidate any witness to get what he wants for his cross-examination, whatever, for the trial. And if he cannot feel safe because he feels intimidated, and I say that with air quotes, then he's a little, starts with a P, ends with a Y. And I will not say that, okay? But let me tell you this. This is pissing me off, and I'm sorry for using the language. If Todd Tibbetts could be removed because of a statement made on social media because of integrity issues, then I'd like Dan Rice to address this question directly. How can he talk of integrity issues? How can they say that? How can they fire Todd Tibbetts for integrity issues on a couple of words that he said when Dan Rice fraudulently ran for election numerous times for this county when he does not live here? Talk about your irony of integrity issues. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. I am so upset that that the Eatons are being persecuted before anything happens. This is nothing more than intimidation so that we shut up and drop this. And this is not right. We have the right. These people have the right. They did what they were told to do time and time again. And now they're, oh, they won, they did it. Now I feel scared. So sorry, Mr. Rice. Talk it. Whatever you gotta do, stand up and be the man you think you are, and come here and face these people. You frauded us. Yeah, you're scared, you feel uncomfortable because you know you lied to these people. And you took their money. How dare you, Mr. Rice? How dare you, Todd Devlin, leave and abandon your duties here? How dare you, Christine Keltner, for doing what you did, following suit, being a yes man, and all of a sudden you have a voice and you clam up? I hope you watch this. I hope you hear everything. I hope everything I say here today gets back to Devlin and Keltner and Rice, because this is ridiculous.
well, I don't want to grade anybody, whether my fellow commissioners here. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get lost in that.
No, I know you don't. I don't, this is just my opinion, and I'm very angry.
An example, there's some days I get phone calls at home. I had a big plan for work on the farm. And we have a citizen that's concerned / angry about a road. And so I get my pickup and I go and talk to them, and they can be angry but we can level-headedly talk about it.
Yeah.
What the issue is, what needs to be done, and then contact the road department, go down and fix it. Because people get mad or yell and I don't want them to, but sometimes people do, and I'm okay with that. But when I drive away, I want us to have a relationship, a friendship and neighbor that they can continue calling me, even if they're angry, they can call. And we're trying to fix problems. We're not trying to create them.
Right. And I'm just angry that they're just walking away. They're turning their back on the people, and they're punishing them basically. How dare you exercise your rights? I'm so mad at that. Oh my God.
Well, I lost my train of thought, but
I just have a question. So Mr. Rice, he chooses not to fulfill his duty. I feel it's duty to be here and also with the other two that walked out, but Mr. Rice in particular, as of today, he's on our payroll, is he not? When he wrote the thing in the Mount City paper deriding us, I can't even remember what he said about us, but he was on the payroll then and he's saying that about his bosses, but right now today, I think we're paying him and he chooses for some reason not to choose, not to, like, Dennis, like you say, we can talk things out. You know, maybe but the other two by walking out, they're choosing to slam the door on all discussion by doing that to us. But like today, Mr. Rice is being paid by us, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I just feel he shouldn't be, he shouldn't, he should not even be called our representative if he can't
Stop your side.
be here or, you know, to enlarge this to the walkout. I feel the most important thing to me on this day is the quickest, fastest thing to get rid of this lawsuit against Eads. Whatever we gotta do is get that gone because that divides this county even more than it should be.
Ma'am, what is your name for the record?
Or Smalls.
Harvey Smalls. Okay.
Jake Kitson. So I have a comment that I'd like to make known that I think is relevant to every one of you, including you two law enforcement officers. So you as commissioners and especially Dan Rice is also a veteran. We all swore an oath to the Constitution in this state and to the federal government. So according to our state and our federal constitution, we're supposed to have adequate representation, regardless of whether you want to make a big deal about Dan living in the county or not. Is this what we were established on? Adequate representation? Because that's lacking right here. How can we say that we are adequately represented? 2/3 of the county now don't have a voice because a man who, again, signed up, joined the United States military, and who got all this commendation the other day about being a veteran is falling face flat. And as Army veteran, John, you know what I'm saying is true. Is he upholding the morals and the values? Where's the integrity? Where's the righteousness, the honor? It's not there. He's willing to put his life on the line and go and die in a foreign land, but he's a little intimidated by some pissed off constituencies. That's a coward.
Yep.
Your commissioners, you're different. You know why? Because you have morality, Dennis. You have faith. Those other two, one's a yes man, and the other one, he's forgotten why he's even here. These people deserve better treatment than this. We as the constituency deserve better. And it's unfortunate that it's viewed as hostility when it's just grievancing the government. The very thing that I agreed and was willing to die for. But that is a coward. That is a Benedict Arnold. That is somebody who is not worthy of representing us. And every single person who's came home under that, they're failing. All of them. And we have a great opportunity now because they are in clear and direct violation of their constitutional oaths now. There's no reason that they cannot be recalled, all three of them. And that's what we should do. We should take them and we should remove them because nothing in this nation is going to change until the people who put their hands on that book and that Constitution start taking it damn serious. I would strongly advise you to convince your other two to drop that.
People online are saying this is derelict of duty.
It is.
You say I'm a Prairie County citizen. I think there's some misunderstanding as to why Mr. Rice chooses not to attend these meetings. It's not because of most of what has happened during this whole wind project fiasco. It is because he was actually threatened by a constituent in a meeting, one-on-one. Not because he's afraid or intimidated by the way people talk recently. He was actually threatened. And he is hired to represent the commissioners. So if he is available to them for their legal representation and their legal discussions, he is fulfilling his duties.
Clarification, he's an elected official, he's not
That's right,
hired.
he is not hired.
So therefore, he represents the people.
But he is elected to represent the people of Prairie County, not just the commissioners.
That's
What do you-
bias.
Hold on, settle down. We need to keep it cool, you know?
Oh, yeah. He is only on the payroll for the commissioners? That is the liberal ideology that we freaking fight against. That is arrogance and ignorance.
Okay, so I'm Glenda Hewlin, and here's my answer to that, Lisa. If Mr. Rice is so afraid of coming to a meeting or visiting with John Q. Public, which probably I could be, then he needs to resign.
Yes, he does.
He needs to resign. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He just needs to say, I can't handle the pressure. What Mr. Kitson is saying, I agree, but maybe he was in the service too long. Maybe he does not have the ability to handle the pressure. I would call for his resignation right now.
Here.
Thank you.
I second that.
Any other comment?
Dennis, maybe you could just take like a few minutes for a timeout and go back and find out if they're gonna come back and adjourn legally. If they're in the building, because we need a motion to adjourn.
I don't think so.
Well, without a quorum, is
Rick,
it,
you think it quit when it left the phone? You think the meeting was over when the quorum went?
No, because it wasn't legally adjourned.
No. You're
I
right.
don't know, but if
Just gonna
they're,
make a decision without quorum.
yes, they're, are you gonna adjourn the meeting?
I
think it's just open.
Michelle Martin.
Hi, Joe.
Were they thinking forward, which after going forward at your commissioner meetings, if they're not gonna be there, how do you conduct business? Other than this, other than the wind farm. It has to be a quorum. So Todd Devlin right now said he's not coming until Dan Rice is gonna be there. That's, that's not right either. Am I misunderstanding what you said? Because what's Christine gonna do? You're not gonna have a quorum. You're gonna be doing this by yourself.
Well, I hope I didn't understand that.
Okay.
I'm hoping,
Okay, I'm understanding the problem.
I'm hoping there's, I just understood they were leaving today, not recently.
Had everybody start that.
Thank you.
I'm not sure.
That's what it said.
I read it out loud and that's what it said.
I did hear. Please reread his letter again,
It's on the agenda.
I can read it again.
please.
Please do.
This Commissioner Devlin, believes that having legal advice from our county attorney, Mr. Rice, is very important to make legal and smart decisions. I also believe that he should feel comfortable to be at any part of a commissioner meeting. So until Mr. Rice notifies me that he does feel comfortable giving us legal advice and being present at public meetings, I will not be going to any county commissioner meetings. When Mr. Rice tells me he feels comfortable, then I will be back. Those that are responsible for Mr. Rice not being here, fix it. For those that have been respectful, thank you. Todd Devlin.
Rathman. If I heard the beginning of that letter correctly, is Todd assuming that Mr. Rice doesn't feel comfortable? That's what I thought I heard. Maybe I misunderstood. But if it's Todd's idea that Mr. Rice doesn't feel comfortable, then where is that idea coming from? Has Mr. Rice said something to him, or has Mr. Devlin been offended by whatever has been said, by Mr. Rice. And so he is assuming that Mr. Rice is not feeling comfortable. And what is it going to take to get someone to feel comfortable? This sounds like a game. It
Mhm.
really does.
Yeah.
15 years.
Did I hear, what, Harry, read correctly?
We all understood it to be that same.
I understood it was a conversation. I hate to speak for anybody, but I understood it was a conversation. I know, just for full disclosure, Dan was upset with me a while ago. I went into his office, sat down and apologized if he was offended in any way, as well as I did our sheriff. It was a year ago when the first petition was in place, Big Shoot Mountain. I was a signer of that petition. In the commissioner's office, Dan said, I can't vote. And I said, why can't I vote? Well, you're gonna gain on this petition. And I said, how am I gonna gain on this petition? And they said, well, you're bringing evidence saying that your property value will depreciate. So you're actually gonna gain on this. And I said, that's crazy as I've never heard. You're telling me I'm not gonna lose, so I'm gonna gain? And if I read code about what my conduct should be, if you're gonna hand me $100 bills for me to do a certain thing, yeah, that's pretty illegal there. But what we were doing, and I firmly disagree, and I did vote on that. I thought he was entirely wrong. And later on, he said he felt threatened by me. As,
Oh my God.
So I recently FOIA requested all of the communications, just, I'd like the public to be aware of this. I recently FOIA requested all communications between all the county commissioners, and Mr. Rice, as well as anything to do with Nextera, the wind farms, multiple things. So those specific instances that Mr. Pesky is speaking to were transcribed in emails. Later on in those emails, though, he goes on to state things speaking directly against us as the constituency, saying that he's not here for our interests, he's here for their interests. That it's not, and that the language of things is threatening by some of the community. That we as the community are hostile towards him because of we're standing for our constitutional rights, because we're standing for our constitutionality and our voice. If you don't like the fact that Mr. and Mrs. Eaton brought forth something to the county, why don't you get elected to Helena and change it then, Mr. Devlin or Miss Christine? But they don't. They would rather try and backwheel and deal and cut and do all kinds of backbiting and talking and putting down publicly members of our community, going behind their backs, speaking ill of them on the record. One of them, who's in the room, is so gracious he should have sued them for defamation 2 years ago. So this is nothing new. If anybody should feel threatened, it should be us by them.
And I do.
and for full public disclosure, we were sitting in a commission meeting. 3 with 4. And idle chit chat. You were degraded terribly in your family. And it was a while later, and there was somebody that agreed with it. You came back to everybody's horror, and you played everybody on your phone. Remember that? That what was said? And where's the accountability? See, to be in public office, you better have a little integrity.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard what was said, I wasn't involved in the conversation. I was sitting down at the end of the table doing some stuff, and I didn't hear it, but once you played it, I heard it. Did I apologize to you?
Yeah.
I was embarrassed that I wasn't listening and I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. It's just as bad as saying it, I think. And we get lost somewhere in all this. We can't do that to one another. We just can't.
I just, the way the days turned out, I know we'll probably get done here pretty quick, but I had the opportunity, since we were kids, to be involved, going to meetings with my dad and uncles. And, there's one of the last great, leaders, I think, that are left in this area, and that's, Dave Caston. He was a legislator. He's done quite a bit of stuff. Yeah, I mean, he's been in fights, not literal fights, but in the legislature and in local politics. He's been here to meetings and he's a man of integrity, but they have fights, disagreements. Senator Holden, he's been in the legislature in fights and he's going, trying to get back into it. And you've talked about it, Commissioner Teskey, about being in the arena, you know, and it takes a lot of courage and you have to respect that. And I do have a lot of respect for that. Commissioner Devlin has been a commissioner my entire adult life. Just let that sink in. My entire adult life. And the showcase today of his character, leadership that he did today is an absolute disappointment. Like I said earlier, you can have disagreements, but you should be in the arena and answer the questions. That's it. But to just get up and leave either shows a total lack of respect for everybody on this side of the table. Or else he believes he's on a pedestal, he doesn't have to answer to anybody on this side of the table. So to me, that's a tremendous disappointment when I look at people with a similar situation as Mr. Devlin, like Dave Caston, Senator Holden, people that have been in the arena of my adult life. And this is the fulfillment. It's just terribly disappointing. And Commissioner Keltner, you know, I just want to bring it up as I think about things, is that she filed for re-election and this is what we get. I mean, if a commissioner or attorney or whoever it is disagrees with us, that's fine. Let's have that conversation. And this is a passionate issue. Some people might get a little passionate, but we're going to disagree or we're going to agree, one or the other. But just to get up and leave and then say, hey, I want to be your commissioner again, is dumbfounding, actually. And I'd like to thank everybody for coming today and helping move forward, not only on the ballot petition, but on the zoning district, because from what we've seen today, folks, and the experience I've had with submitting the zoning district with Mr. Dan Pike, I have very little faith, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but this is how I can see this can happen. Was our regulations passed on March 2nd at the Cameron Heritage Center or not? Well, the commissioners 2-1 reaffirmed that at the last meeting Wednesday, but now we hear may not be the case. So if this goes to a planning and zoning commission to look at our regulations, Commissioner Keltner voted against our regulations on Wednesday, folks. So she will be a no vote on the up to 7-member panel, the commission. I have high degree of confidence the 2 people that are selected from the courthouse will also be against our district. And maybe it's not maybe it won't happen, but I have a high degree of confidence they will. And that leaves Commissioner Devlin as a swing vote. And any confidence I had in Mr. Devlin after today is gone. So we as petitioners, the last best place zoning district, have to have the understanding that if a commission comes in, it's a 4-3 vote to do what they wish to our regulations in our district. They could zero our regulations out. They could zero out our district. And I have to let everybody know that that is what could very well happen. And is that in the plans? They spoke for themselves today. They just walked out. So is it in the plans? It very well could be. That's not a conspiracy. That is something that could very well happen in the next weeks to months, that our zoning district will be zeroed out.
One ten, let me just just a second. In Montana annotated code, it says you need 5 people, 3 commissioners and 2 from the zoning. You can have up to 7.
Correct.
Aaron Martinson at our last meeting brought up, this is talking about health, safety and welfare. If you need to have a government official, Eileen would suffice because she's your county health nurse. And she has brought very, very good, astute things to the commissioners about certain health issues that are out there with wind farms. So, I guess would the deck be stacked? I don't know. I hope not. But at this point, we keep lollygagging and playing a game with this thing instead of making decisions and living with them. Either kick it out and say, you guys suck, we ain't gonna do it, or it has credibility, let's pursue this, and how do we find a way? At the heart of all of this, as I've spent 2 years, we can call it what it is, but it comes to money. It's what it is. Tax dollars, revenue, this is sunshine. And to me, it's like this, I got a daughter, cute boy, high school boy comes, wants to date her, tells me he's gonna get her home on time and he's just gonna treat her right and life's gonna be good. And then all of a sudden, you hear something, you go out and the boy's sneaking in your daughter's bedroom window. So how is this, you're treating her right? And somehow with Nextera, I feel a little bit like that instead of coming to the table, there was a meeting in Glendive where we had a public meeting, but we had to go to the back room to get an answer. No answer to everybody.
Can I ask a question? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Joan Graham. I know being a county commissioner is a thankless job, there's no doubt about it. But if Todd Devon has been in there for 30 years, he's been voted in for 30 years. Why is there somebody running against him? I'm thankful that Harry's finally running.
Correct.
I mean, if people can complain, but if nobody is willing to do the job that you're doing, then we're stuck.
Well, what happens like today when they refuse to do their job? I mean,
Dereliction.
why don't we get rid of them? How-
We can. Takes minimal amount of the percentage of voters to get them out for a recall election, which can be done at any time.
I did have a question.
Hi, Harry.
No, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys got a letter from the attorney for the Edens. And my understanding is both of the attorneys that are representing the county said that if the zoning commission is put together, they cannot significantly change the regulations. Was that not what all 3 sides said?
Verbiage. And at this point, verbiage, and it's scary. Where do we go from here? What's gonna happen? Because I don't wanna talk against anybody, but we ought not be just walking away from our citizens. We should be communicating and having pizza tonight together with them.
I'm not denying that.
That's fine.
No, Mr. Commissioner, you're right, Harry, that it has to be similar, if they send it to a commission. And that's why you gotta read the statute, if they sent it and brought it back. And the way we look at it, that they did not do that, they just did it as a commission, because they may appoint a commission. So it has to be similar documents, but they can also vote to repeal it.
My only point was that they're not being told by the county attorneys that they should significantly change this, that they should deny the regulations. That was never said, was it, Dennis?
Right.
On either side of the table that you
Not to
should
my knowledge, no.
do that. Okay, I'm not defending. I'm just saying that there's more to it than just a threat of regulation being changed, that nobody's saying that should be done.
But we don't know until we have a meeting, and then somebody can make a motion to say, we want to change, I make a motion to change it from 199 to 599 for the height limit. That's only a 1 number change, so that's
That's a
similar.
significant change, isn't it?
Depends, I don't know. They get, the commission votes, we're just sitting on this side of the table. And then we would have to sue the county. Yeah,
And I'm not
So-
dismissing your fears, your concerns. I'm just saying that, to my knowledge, that's not something that's being suggested.
When we voted on March 2nd over at the Heritage Center, I asked a specific question about when we were voting. Were we voting for the petition? Were we voting for the whole thing? Because I had read through it, the regulations, all that. and I was assured, we're voting on this. And there is a method to change it, but it comes later with a commission. You don't just, in the world I live in, we don't approve last best place as a district and then make it up as we go down the road. We bring regulations in. No, they're there. You accept the whole thing, the signatures, the petition for what it is and the regulations. And then if it needs adjustment, then you do that as you go and through consensus. And at this point, I don't know. I don't trust our system. That's what I'm saying. I don't trust it at this point.
Were you aware that they were going to do this today at all?
Were you?
Yes, they said.
I was caught off guard. I didn't see it coming. Dan Rice has been very blunt. All my years of being a commissioner, almost 10 years. I've never faced this before. Who's ever been commissioners, Dan or Todd, we've always had conversations. We've gone to eat lunch together. We've done different things. But in this, since the wind's come up 2 years ago, Dan's been very vocal about, don't talk to one another, don't email one another. We go through Harry, don't we?
Mhm.
Don't have any communications outside. And you know what? If I can't talk to my wife, why I didn't do the dishes, why I didn't vacuum. If I don't talk, we're gonna just have terrible problems. You gotta communicate with my wife. We have to communicate as citizens. And we have to communicate, not make votes and how you're gonna vote, how you're gonna do, not that at all, because that's illegal and that is wrong morally, no virtue. But we should have the liberty to call each other. Are those my cows over in your pasture? See, we don't want any of that, and we get lost in that, I think.
Go ahead, sir.
Students without, I don't understand all the legality of everything, but I do know this, if you abandon your post and you're the only man standing, you're the authority on that post, and the rest of them have abandoned it. Very good.
State statute says we need a quorum, and we don't have a quorum.
Okay, Mary Elizabeth, what happens now with all the county business? Does everything just sit idle until Dan Rice decides it's safe and appropriate for him to show up to a meeting? That way these two will show up? What happens to our county business? Do paychecks get paid? You know?
Sure.
Does
That's a great question.
I'm not sure.
I didn't hear Christine say she would be back. Did she say that? I didn't catch it.
With,
Yes. She did say that?
yes, in different wording, but yes, she did. Kate Hopper has a question, a statement. If someone misbehaves in a public meeting, then officers should remove the person, is that correct? Officers?
There are limitations, yes.
Yes, there are, but has anybody violated any constitutional rights? Have they exercised their rights? Because the Supreme Court said, like Mr. Kitson stated, that we have the right to redress our grievances to our elected officials. And that could mean any form of criticism. It can be angry words. It can be passionate. And this is, I've been following 1A auditors for a long time now, and I follow Tallulah Downing, and he's a constitutional man. I'll tell you, that guy knows the law. And everything that we have done here today has never gone over and beyond violating somebody's rights or violating any law in the Constitution. We came here, we listened, we're quiet, we're respectful, we disagree, and then they want to sit here and they do. So nobody here has ever done anything to be arrested and removed from these hearings, these proceedings. But we've just violated Dan Rice. Woo woo, woo woo. We violated Devlin and Keltner. I'm sorry, if If you're too fragile and you can't handle it, step down. So anyway, she's saying this, they should be removed the person by you, the officer, and then it's dereliction for duty for county officials not to attend the meeting. So how do we, Commissioner, Teskey, how do we, it, like she said, does this suspend everything for the county because they don't want to come back because they feel scared? So how do we get them out of here? How do we let business go as usual without them?
Can we not suggest that the law enforcement go and bring them in so that we can finish the meeting?
Should they not be?
Yes, they
Legally
should
speaking,
absolutely
They have a legal
100%.
post and they have left it.
Yep.
They've left their legal post.
Yeah.
If this was an officiated meeting that you gavelled in into Quorum, this is a legal proceeding within the county, then. So why are they not being retrieved?
Yep, that's your job.
Because jury duty.
Yep.
They come drag me from my house.
Yep.
I can make a call for it.
Okay, thank you.
So how did we get to this point? Got these lawsuits going around, we got everybody mad at everybody. Dennis finally said something intelligent earlier, he doesn't want everybody to tear each other apart.
Right.
Approximately 7 years ago, next year, a company asked if somebody wants to lease their land for money so that they can put wind farms up someday. Okay, everything's hunky-dory, they keep cashing the damn checks for 7 frickin' years. All of a sudden, they say, oh, I don't want them, for whatever reason. Maybe they're blinking lights, maybe there's some make-believe deal about who's growing on cows, whatever. All of a sudden, they say, well, I want out of this. How can I do that? I know what I'll do. I'll get the county to do it for me. And when the county says, hold it here, our legal guy says, we probably shouldn't do this. We gotta go about it the right way. So we go through planning meetings, we go through land planning board meetings, we do all this crap, we keep having these damn meetings, tearing each other apart. Why? Why is it?
Why?
If anybody, we got this guy enabling these grifters. I'm gonna call them grifters, that's what they are, they're trying to get out of a contract they signed. That's a damn grifter, and he's enabling them. He should be embarrassed. If anybody should step down, it should be him. Dennis, you know better.
What's the name of this county? Prairie County. That's cute.
Mr.
But you're the only one with integrity.
Hang on, Mr. Teskey, I want to rebuttal that comment. I've been to almost every single one of these commissioner meetings and I have listened to every single one. I haven't missed a one in the last 2.5 years, maybe 3 years. No one that has a contract has walked in the door and said, commissioners, will you please help me get out of my contract? Not a single one. There's 2 commissioners that have said that, and then there's 3 people that do have contracts that have accused other people of that. Not a single one person has asked the commissioners to get out of the contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Commissioner Devlin, I mean, just to ease some of the confusion, a lease does not freeze in time the ability to zone. Okay, anybody can disagree with me, but that's a fact. We can go to Weibo. There's the same situation as Prairie County. There's leases, there's oil leases, gas leases, every kind of lease in Weibo County. Zoning can be applied. Dauphin County did the same thing. So Prairie County, I think what has happened is in December of 2023, there was about a half a dozen people that came into the commissioners. I said, hey, what is the county doing about this? And at that time, Mr. Devlin said, you know, you guys knew nothing about it, even though Freedom of Information has shown that he knew about it in 23, several times. And I remember the words exactly of Chairman Devlin was that he looked at both of you and said, well, it sounds like we should fire up the land planning board. And at that time, I had no idea. I didn't know what a land planning board was. I never heard of it in my life. Didn't know what it was. Nothing happened. And, you know, because we were concerned about roads, decommissioning, if the county's going to be on the hook for it, and setbacks. Those are things we brought to you guys. Nothing happened. And as things move forward and people learn more and see Angela, there is concern about property rights, health, and safety. And the county's chosen to do nothing. And that's fine. but 50 citizens came together to do something. I don't think that's out of bounds, especially when you have 100% of them come together. And, so that's the zoning district. And I don't see why anybody should be concerned about that, because we all came together and said, this is what we want to do. The county just needs to rubber stamp it. The ballot petition, separate issue, countywide. And the discussion is it constitutional or not? And I guess we're going to find out. You know, there's 2 attorney general opinions in a court case, at least one that, in the Constitution, you know, Article 11, Section 8, that says we have that right, so.
If I could back up just a little bit, when you talked about the land planning board, and Todd Devlin did write a 10-page point about why zoning is important for this project. He wrote it, it's on record. But anyway, getting back to the land planning board, we would update the plan, and going alongside that plan, we would have a zoning commission to look at this and do it together. We had hired 2 attorneys to help with that, to navigate the road as we went down. We weren't down that road a month. And Dan Rice said, we zone in Miles City, we don't need a zoning attorneys hired by the land planning board, so you just get rid of them. So we fired 2 attorneys that were helping the land planning board navigate their way through zoning. And Dan, talking to the land planning people, any land planner in here? Probably not. Anyway, in this process, Dan never attended one meeting to help with zoning or to pursue this. And so we started getting off track. It is a big deal what happened, because the land planning and the zoning didn't happen. Todd had written letters about why we need zoning, and now that's what way, and why these things have happened, I have no idea, 0 idea. And when it comes back to me enabling, you guys know Norma Peabody?
Yes, yeah.
Norma Peabody caught me on the street one day when this was just starting. And Norma told me, she's born here, lived her whole life, raised here, that spot up there. And she sees what happened to Angela in that area. She has seen it. She's been there, they drove through it. And she didn't want that to happen to her. So I did meet several times with Ross about, what are you doing with non-participants? And always this or that. Ross had asked me one time, what did you think about the legislation in Helen this last year? And I says, it's amazing to me, you said, doesn't the lobbyist to Helena spend millions of dollars and you won't even buy a tank of gas to go out there and talk to Norma? I mean, can't we do that? Can't we find that way that through height or whatever? The promise has been, we're not gonna have those blinking lights all night. But the caveat is, we're gonna apply. When I've talked to the FFA, they say over a certain height, you're not gonna get that light detection because too many problems can happen. So we get led down a path. And you just ask the questions, just let's be honest. If they were just say, hey, you know, we can't get this, it's too dang high, instead we'll get a permit or we'll apply for a permit. See, things just go off road, but getting back to Norma, I represent her too, and I don't know if I got a vote from her or not, but I need to represent her, and she's concerned about what's gonna happen to her because she's outside the zone. And the people that want to create this are not interested in talking to her, but she'll live with it. We didn't find a way, and those are my concerns.
I'd just like to add, Commissioner Devlin, that when this started, and the evolution, in the beginning, you know, you gave story after story how you hated zoning from your experience in Seattle. And it was like, guys, we're not going down that road, we're not going, and it was over and over. And as, you know, to Mr. Kelfield's concerns, you've come to, you saw the concerns of the citizens, Norma Peabody. you saw that there was an effect on property values and some health and safety, and we need to do some things. And through that time, you have transitioned to seeing what your constituents have brought to you. So as we've moved through this, one can see that not all the facts were right there front and center day one. But as we've gone through this, there wasn't 50 petitioners signed 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago for the district because they didn't know the facts. Now that everything's come forward, you've seen the facts, you've transitioned your opinions to what needs to be done and regulations that are acceptable. I think that needs to be brought to light that you weren't always on the position you are today.
That's right.
No, it's the opposite.
That's right.
I lived with it in Seattle.
I just have one thing, back to what the original premise of this meeting was about. My concern is this, so we're assuming a resident of the county for bringing a petition signed by other residents of the county. Are the other residents of the county going to be held accountable also because they signed the petition?
Good question.
My next question is, so if somebody feels that 250 feet is too high, not too high enough, but now I can't put in a smokehouse or a pot house in Prairie County, because that was zoned out.
Yeah.
Whether the county gonna start going and suing all these other things that I cannot do because I wanna put a pot house, I'm sorry, not the right word, but people know what I'm talking about. Dispensary. I can't put a dispensary in this town. Is the county gonna go out and start suing because I cannot put a dispensary in this town? You know, once we start down this road, where do we stop?
Yeah.
Because there's laws that get passed in the legislature in counties all the time that affect people. I mean, I can go back probably here and find laws that are causing me to do something I cannot do because it was enacted years ago. I'm just concerned, back to the point about government gets too complacent, you get voted in by 50% of the people. Hell, you can get voted in by less if it's free. That's Clinton. But yeah, we bring up something that's got 100% of the people that are in favor of it. And they're being sort of pushed aside, like, you don't matter. But that's where the citizen initiated stuff was put into place by our forefathers, was if the government officials start not passing laws and you don't like what they're doing, you can get the signatures and put it on the ballot and vote for it yourself. That's what the whole country was founded on. Let the whole county vote, and then we'll know. And then if there is a problem, somebody else can sue. They'd have to sue the county, which would be no different than the county suing a landowner. But who's protecting the citizens of the county? Because what I think the county government was set up to do is protect the citizens of this county. So I'm just concerned about what road we're gonna be going down with who we're gonna sue and why we're suing. It seems like you just open up a whole can of worms that if the two commissioners don't like something, we can just go after it.
Commissioner Teskey, to Ms. Grammer's point earlier about, Commissioner Devlin being reelected however many times. And, in your time as a commissioner, most of the meetings you would come to prior to 2 years ago, the room was empty. Wouldn't it be? Because I know you guys have passed resolutions and there's nobody in the room. You guys read to empty chairs. So over that time, I think Ms. Grammer and others would find that there's been about this many difficult situations for votes in Prairie County. Most of the stuff's pretty basic. There's not a monumental issue every week. And so when the hard votes came, and when you had to make the decision on who you're for and who you're against, are you with your constituents? Are you with Helena, Mako, whatever anybody wants to say? If this would have happened 3, 4, 5 election cycles ago, I don't know that Mr. Devlin would have got reelected. So there's never been a difficult vote. Same thing in politics. We get what's called, as a Republican, we get rhinos, Republicans in name only. You don't know until they make a vote. So until we have a difficult vote, it's hard to say we're not happy. That's why I bring up the point of Commissioner Kellner. she's up for reelection. She's had the opportunity now to make her vote known. She's against the 50 people who came forth with a petition. She voted that Wednesday. Everybody in the room and the rest of the county now has seen her actions and her vote and have the opportunity to vote for somebody else. But anyway, so thank you.
You know, it's been 4, 5, 6 years ago. Aaron, I think, was at the meeting. I think we talked about it, but our citizens are really upset about roads. Prior to that, you might have a citizen once a quarter show up for any, that's certain issues. But, you know, I mean, we're getting ragged on that road. People hated us and they hated our road worse. And so we decided to have a public meeting. How can we find a way? So we advertised it. We came at 7 o'clock that night to this room. And there were 3 people here, the commissioner. So if the complaints were still going, so we advertised it again. No participation. The 3rd time I says, let me advertise it. So I advertised it as, we're gonna put 25-mile-an-hour restrictions on all county roads. We had 50 people in this room, didn't we, Aaron? And they were upset. And then, of course, after they're done yelling for the first 20 minutes, we're not doing any of that, but we had to have you here to listen and talk to one another. And you know, that night, after the discussion of a couple hours, we walked away with 4 bullet points for our road department that satisfied people and that have worked from then until now. But it was listen to our citizens. And I think we need to be listening to our citizens.
What, there was one big bullet point that I got out of that meeting. And it never happened, but there was gonna be a sticker put on all the road graders with a max road grading speed in the road graders. Instead of grading 8 miles a road a day, maybe we're gonna slow down and only grade 2.
Yeah. That was part of it, that they had to slow them down, had to stay in districts.
Hasn't happened. We spend more money going over the roads more times than once doing everything at job.
You know, there was some criticism. Todd Henry sat right in that chair. And criticism about roads, and you should schedule better, you should plan better, you should be be right in. And so Todd brought out his phone AI and he says, cause she kept saying, just go to AI, they'll fix it, they'll tell you how to do it all. So I presented the AI. This is how many roads we have, this is what we're trying to do. And AI come back after a little calculation said, it's, if you do 1.2 miles a day, you can do all your roads in a year, but there's no days off, there's no sick days, there's no nothing. And, so if you do that, if you have your time off and you do that, now you can get 2.3 miles done a day, but you need minimum of 8 people in your road department and should have 12. In December, we had 1. And a lot of times we've had 2, and now we have 3, but they're telling about 8. So the expectations are very great about what we should be doing, but reality tells us we don't have the personnel, we don't have the budget, there's just so many things that hit us.
So you're telling me that we need more money to go to the road department so they can have more employees? Drop the lawsuit, let's take the money from the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Put it in the road department.
Yeah.
Spend the money wisely.
Well, I think it was brought up last meeting that we spent $7,000 so far, so it's great.
You have a question. Since the commissioners were not here, will that be deducted from their monthly salaries as it should be expected? If it's it should be paid for something you're not doing. And every meeting here for us, I have a legal question and concern is how can they adequately represent the constituency when they have completely devoided themselves of value and trust from the constituency? So everything that they put forth from now on is in question for the whole of the community now, the whole of the county. So anything, whether we get to a planning board or whatever, their opinions, they've already stated they do not care. So now, if the citizenry know that we only have one person truly representing us in the county, somebody who's willing here, to hear and listen to us. We don't even have a legal representative in the county at all. So, whoever signs the checks, make sure you don't sign the check this month for these two, because they're failing. Three, yeah, thank you, ma'am.
John was gonna call Todd and Christine to have them come back. They were,
No, so I cannot recall them. This is a civil matter. What I have learned is they do have the right by law to walk out. The meeting then loses quorum and no legal stuff can be, voted upon or anything like that. And the commissioner or commissioners that are left can adjourn the meeting. So that's
Who gave you that information, John?
the sheriff.
Okay, so he's speaking from code and from enforcement of code.
Yes, this under Montana law. This is a civil situation. There is no criminal code to recall them.
And he does.
Okay,
It's code. He's talking.
does this mean then that because Todd said that Dan Rice does not feel comfortable, then does that also mean that he will not call any more meetings? I mean, what is it that's expected of us to do to help assure Todd that we are amicable with the attorney? I mean, will there be any more meetings or is this it? For the rest of the year or for however? I mean, how do you determine that?
We can recall them. Do that at any point we want.
At this point, I just don't have any answers. So,
Well, this is my opinion. I don't know if it's true, but somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. If we don't have a commissioner, a commission, because two have walked out and everything is suspended because they don't feel comfortable until Rice feels comfortable and they won't be back, that means nothing. This all ends right now. It's in low. It's done. Nothing can go forward. Nothing can go back. I don't know. Please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is dead.
well, I think we should adjourn.
Yeah.
Thank you for everybody.
Yep. Yep.
Good.